In today's Mastercam blog, I want to have a look at entity selection and then how we can go about different selection methods and whether we want to pick one entity, a chain of entities, or maybe a partial section of a chain of entities. So to get started here, I'm just going to make up a quick little shape that's got lots of sides. So I'm going to use the polygon function here, make an entity with 20 sides, and let's go with a radius of 10. Okay, so just basically with this shape here, I've got an object that's got lots of sides that are all connected. So looking at entity selection in Mastercam, we've got a couple different options. We can obviously just come in and start clicking on objects that we want to select. Obviously this could be selection that could be used in a transform or a rotate or something like that. But selecting entities is something that's done quite often in Mastercam, and there are some shortcuts that can make your life a little easier and things go a little bit quicker. So if we were to select one by one on all of these objects, obviously that's 20 clicks to select the entire object. One of the options that we can use to select all of these entities is to window select. So left click and hold, and then drag and click on the opposite side. Anything within that window will get selected. Another common method is using the holding of the shift key and clicking on an entity. Anything connected to that entity will be selected. Again, very useful. But where things can become a little tricky is what if I only want to select half of the geometry in this section here. So from here down to this last section here. So we do have the option of window selection again, will work. But if we get beyond an exact halfway point, maybe we want to do 2/3. So I can't really window 2/3 of it. I could make 2 windows. But again, there is other options. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to click on this entity holding down my shift key. And if this is the last entity I want in my chain, I'm going to again hold down my shift key and select that last entity. Notice I'm getting that partial chain now. It's finding that path from the first entity I clicked on up until the last. So obviously it's decided that this is the route I want it to go. How do I make this go the opposite way? It's the same as with your geometry chaining inside of toolpaths. It's the half of the entity that you click on first. Mastercam will assume that's the starting point. So again, I'll hold down my shift key, click on the right half of the geometry or the entity. Still holding down my shift key, select the last entity, and notice my selection now goes to the left. And lastly, I think we can expand a little bit on the window selection, especially when we get up into these options up here for in, out, in plus, out plus, and intersect. So let's first have a look at in. So these will all relate to our window selection mode. So I'm in the in mode right now, and I'm going to draw a selection box that bisects this segment here and this segment down here. And again, look at the result of this operation. Only the 3 entities that were completely inside of my rectangle are selected. So these 2 here are only partially inside, so they will not be selected. So that was the in mode. If I do the in plus mode, again, I'll bisect those same 2 lines. Notice this time those are included in the selection. So in plus will window select or will select anything inside of the window as well as anything that the window itself actually touches. So out is just the inverse of that. So let's look at out first. I'll bisect those same 2 lines. Notice the selection is everything outside of that window or completely outside of that window. My window was touching these entities here, so they will not be included. If I do the out plus, those 2 lines that I was touching with my window are now included in that selection. And our last option is intersect. So notice this time the only selected entities are those that actually intersect into the window that we've created. So again, that's a few looks at some options in Mastercam for entity selection and different ways we can go about selecting different portions or sections of geometry.